Today we'll be taking a look at a brief Roman Reigns update, some Bayley related news, some conversations with Toni Storm versus Charlotte Flair, and much more. Let's start things off with this brief Roman Reigns update. So as we know, Roman Reigns was not present on the December 10th edition of Smackdown. Paul Heyman explained that Roman wasn't at the show because he was off training for his defense against Brock Lesnar. Smackdown always feels like something is missing when Roman is absent, but Brock Lesnar, Heyman, and Sami Zayn all had a brilliant opener, which still carried on Roman's storyline. So some fans have been asking some questions about Roman's absence and what was the actual reason why he was left off the show. Well, reports claim that Roman put in this day off several months in advance. So this has nothing to do with creative having nothing for him to do or last second change. This was allegedly an absence that has been planned well in advance. Whether it was a vacation or an event on his schedule, it was a date that everyone knew he would miss for a long time. However, it's not a bad thing because Roman's absence ends up just building more hype for the story. All this stuff happened on Smackdown. The Usos losing, Paul Heyman slipping up and rooting for Brock Lesnar, and everything else related to the storyline. These are all things that concern Roman, but he obviously wasn't around for any of it. So naturally, it builds up this anxiety, this anticipation to see Roman's reaction and what he'll have to say for everything that happened while he was away. That whole thing Roman always says about how the show goes wrong every time he's away always turns out to be true. So this time is no different from all those other times. Roman is coming back to chaos and a whole bunch of issues that will no doubt have him heated. Day 1 is not that far away, just a few weeks out, and that event will most likely feature a big moment that will give this feud a reason to continue. There's a popular rumor that Roman and Brock may go till WrestleMania. So taking that into consideration, and if that rumor is true, how can this story continue in a way that doesn't feel exhausting? We'll see Roman vs. Brock a numerous amount of times, so if they do plan on having a few more matches between them after day 1, how can that happen? Well, one of these easy possibilities is what they've been teasing us with for months now, and that's Paul Heyman's betrayal. Yes, Heyman says that he's known Roman's family longer than he's known Brock, and that he's loyal to them, but Heyman's personality and history of turning on people gives us cause to pause and at least doubt his loyalty to Roman. Especially when we get a teaser after teaser about Heyman and Brock possibly working together. It just feels like that's the only big possible payoff to these teases, would be Heyman turning on Roman Reigns. And depending on how that betrayal moment plays out, who knows? Maybe that moment can technically turn Roman Reigns babyface. All depends on how it plays out and how the fans receive that moment. If they consider Heyman turning on Roman to be a dirty move, Brock and Heyman can be back to being a heel duo, with us possibly seeing a babyface version of the tribal chief. It's such a tricky situation to predict, because would you consider Heyman turning on Roman to be a babyface turn? It all depends on how it specifically plays out. Maybe the live fans love it, maybe they erupt when Heyman officially turns on Roman, or maybe they don't. So that's a moment that the fans feel like it could be coming up soon, and that's possibly how this story could continue to linger on. Charlotte Flair and Toni Storm are at the start of their own feud over the Smackdown Women's title. This all started after Toni interrupted Charlotte Flair for a few weeks now. That was all amazing. It was great to see Toni Storm being finally used in a storyline that had purpose. But where things get a bit shaky was when pie throwing was introduced to this feud. It's something we talked about a few weeks ago, and it's something that more and more fans are discussing. This all happened during the Thanksgiving edition of Smackdown. After Toni Storm came out to cut Charlotte off once again, Charlotte took a pie and threw it at Toni's face. Now yes, it's easy to see what they were trying to do with this moment. It was meant to be a pity moment for the babyface character to build up some sympathy from the fans. Then, the following week on SmackDown, Toni got her revenge and throws a pie back at Charlotte. But the argument and discussion fans were having was that this was supposed to be a feud for a prestigious WWE Women's title between two bigger-than-life gifted athletes. And the best you can do is revolve their story around throwing pies back and forth. It's a bit goofy. It's a storyline that you would most likely see on a sitcom between a main character and a school bully. That's where you'd expect to see a story like this. But in the WWE, during a feud for the women's title, everyone just expects to see a bit more than a pie-throwing competition. Thankfully, all this silliness seems to have come to an end in this feud. But the discussion fans are having now is if the damage has already been done or not. The feud was introduced in such a comedic and goofy fashion that would it still be possible to turn it around and have it to be taken extremely serious again? That's the big question right now. Charlotte got herself disqualified during the match with Toni Storm, so obviously that story doesn't appear to be over just yet. So we'll see if they'll be able to recover from the pie throwing. Will Toni Storm take the title off Charlotte? Most likely no, but if they can have a decent long pay-per-view match and Toni's able to steal the show with her performance, that'll obviously be great for her in the long run. Bayley went live on Instagram recently and went over a few topics with the fans that showed up for the stream. One of the popular topics was, of course, Bayley's surgically repaired knee coming off that torn ACL from during the summer. Bayley had this to say on how her knee is doing, quote, "Anyway, people are asking how my knee is. So, my knee is doing great, my leg's doing great, my ankle's doing great, my shin is doing great, my hip is doing great, my mind is doing great. So, I mean, it's only a matter of time. I'm not going to tell you when, and I don't want all these idiots watching to know when, but I'm going to be coming back soon. Maybe, you better be ready," end quote. So it's great to hear from Bayley that her knee is doing great and that she'll be back soon. Now the next question fans will have is, well, how soon will Bayley be back? Well, you're dealing with a torn ACL surgery here. Average full recovery time ranges from the minimal of 9 months to 12 months. Of course, everyone's knee and everyone's case is different. Freakish ACL recoveries have been done before. We even saw one back in 2016 with Seth Rollins. Seth tears his ACL in late 2015 and somehow bounces back to return in just 6 months of recovery time. So it can be done. You can make a full recovery a few months in advance. Bayley went down in mid-July with this injury, so 9 months for her would be around April 2022. So if Bayley is able to somehow stick to that 9-month recovery time, a lot of fans are discussing for her return to take place right around WrestleMania season. WrestleMania season is also full of big surprises and returns. So Bayley's return would fit perfectly. Also, not to mention that Bayley still hasn't competed in front of live fans since pre-pandemic, so she has to be very eager to get back out there. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.